like, share, subscribe. Shouts out to the Lions Den community. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the podcast show. Link will be pinned in the top of the chat.
Just name the channel who could bang with us. I'll prove that you are smoking dust. GTV Media is top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have yourself to blame, y'all. Ticket TV and a weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop until you get your mouth off LGBT. We are the underground outfit, y'all. We built this whole thing by ourselves, no in y'all. Independence start with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yup, we got that merch for the ladies and yes, we even got that merch for the babies and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got some banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
Hey, can y'all hear me? Yo, press 1 if y'all can hear me in the comment section. Can y'all hear me? I had to go out and come back in. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the comment section, man. Can y'all hear me now? Press 1. All right, y'all can hear me? My bad, man. That's why I be always doing a mic check, man. I don't know why that junk be acting like that, man. But that's why we stay doing a mic check, man. Sometimes StreamYard be coming with the foolishness. So yeah, y'all smash the like button as y'all come on in, share and subscribe. And we definitely gonna get right into this video, man. Jay-Z, man, Rock Nation, Jay-Z's Rock Nation, and the CEO, Desiree Perez, are up against it right now, y'all, as it is some absolutely explosive new allegations that have come out against them tonight. And I'm going to show you guys in just a second exactly what's going on, as they got some explosive allegations out here against them, man. And basically, for you guys who don't know what's going on, Desiree Perez, apparently she has a daughter, and her daughter has come out and accused her in Rock Nation of illegal activity in an explosive lawsuit. Now, I'm going to show you guys, shout out to my boy Diddy Doc, I'm going to show you guys this lawsuit that is up now, that just went up, man. Unbelievable stuff, man. As Desiree Perez, she is the daughter, Desiree Perez, her daughter, Desiree Hadley, is not only suing her mother, who's the CEO of Rock Nation, but she's also suing Rock Nation and everybody else that y'all see that's underneath that list right there. So her daughter has filed a lawsuit with some explosive claims against Jay-Z and Desiree Perez. Now, I'm going to get to these allegations right now because this is unbelievable, man. And I mean, she went in on these allegations. Now, to say this: Desiree Perez and Rock Nation are innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. I want to start out by saying that first. These are the allegations from Desiree Perez's daughter. You understand what I'm saying? And basically, Desiree Perez's daughter, I believe, who lives in Florida, she has basically come out with this lawsuit. Now, she says this case that she's filing against her mother, Desiree Perez, the CEO of Jay-Z's Rock Nation, and Jay-Z's Rock Nation, who Jay-Z is the founder of, she's saying that this case gives meaning to the phrase "you wouldn't believe it until you see it." Now, for you guys who want to see, the paperwork has officially been filed. It is in the dockets. It has been filed. And this, man, bro, this is crazy. It says Desiree Perez, known as Desiree, and I'm reading exactly from the lawsuit to y'all. It says known as Desiree is a former drug trafficker, confidential informant, and convicted felon who is now the CEO of Rock Nation in New York City. It says Desiree Hadley, known as Desiree, is Desiree's biological daughter. It says Javon Hadley, Javon is Desiree's husband. Now, Desiree met Javon while they attended Miami Palmetto Senior High School. Now, Desiree and Javon have been together for the past 15 years and got married in 2024. This complaint will refer to them collectively as the Hadleys. So the Hadleys will be referred to as Desiree's daughter and her daughter's husband. Now, it says for the past 2 years, Desiree has used her money, power, and influence to tear the Hadleys apart. It says Desiree created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot and use unlawful means to have Javon falsely arrested on 3 different occasions and Desiree falsely detained under the Florida Bakers Act and Marchman Act statutes. Now it goes on to say, unfortunately, as detailed below, Desiree has a history of using illegal tactics to get her way, even if it requires wearing rubber gloves and providing false information to authorities. And she actually puts a picture of her using rubber gloves in a lawsuit. Now, it also says, in addition to being the CEO of Rock Nation, upon information and belief, Desiree is part owner of the company. Now, it says Rock Nation was founded in 2008 by music icon Jay-Z and has become one of the most influential entities in the entertainment and sports industries. Right? Right? Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on one second. All right. So it says Rock Nation represents chart-topping musicians, elite athletes, and influential entertainers, including Rihanna, J. Cole, Shakira, Kevin Durant, and Saquon Barkley. It says the National Football League contracts Rock Nation to organize and select performers for the Super Bowl halftime show. It says Rock Nation also assists artists with creating content for concerts and movies. Desiree, as CEO, has an army of tech staff with access to the best technology that money can buy. She also has a team of attorneys and private investigators at her disposal. Desiree, despite her current position, Desiree's background and discreet rise to prominence was highly unusual. Unfortunately, Desiree's past and her abandonment of her daughter, Desiree, is the root cause of the current friction between a mother and a daughter. Their relationship is unfortunate, sad, and disheartening. More disappointing, their relationship could have been repaired through alternative means, but Desiree chose to employ heavy handed tactics instead. Now, it says in its filing, Desiree's past as a drug trafficker, confidential informant, fraudster, and fugitive. Desiree participated in federal drug trafficking activities in the 1990s under her prior name, Desiree Reynoso. Now it goes on to say, and she actually puts photos of that case uh, in the lawsuit with name of the offender, case number, all of these things. Conspiracy to distribute that C stuff, conspiracy, 2 counts of conspiracy to distribute that white stuff, right? And she actually put that filing, the United States District Court for Southern District of Florida. She actually put that in the lawsuit, a picture of that. Now it says, following Desiree's federal indictment and arrest, she was originally sentenced to 30-month imprisonment. However, Desiree became a confidential informant and provided information to federal law enforcement, which caused the government to file a motion eliminating her 30-month prison sentence. It says, while engaged in narcotic trafficking activities, Desiree gave birth to her daughter, Desiree, in November of 1994. It says, even after Desiree's birth, Desiree continued to engage in criminal conduct. It says, for instance, local law enforcement arrested Desiree in April of 1996 for a slew of fraudulent criminal activity, including organized fraud, grand theft, and several counts of uttering a forged instrument. It goes on to say, and it shows the filings in the actual lawsuit. It shows the picture of the paperwork. It says that when Desiree got arrested on state court charges, she had already been sentenced to federal prison, but was still out on bond. Now it says her surrender date got delayed to at least August the 12th, 1996. It says, see United States versus Luis Quintero in that case. Now it says, as shown, for you guys who are just coming in here, Jay-Z CEO of Rock Nation, Desiree Perez, and Rock Nation, Jay-Z's Rock Nation, are being sued and accused of fraud in an explosive lawsuit, which I'm reading to you guys right now. It goes on to say, as shown on her federal probation affidavit, it says Desiree later fled to New York while on probation and became a fugitive from justice. Now it goes on to say, in March of 1998, New York officials arrested Desiree for grand larceny, criminal use of drug paraphernalia, and criminal possession of a firearm. It goes on to say Desiree pled guilty in New York State Court, but was only sentenced to a conditional discharge, right? And it shows proof of that in this lawsuit. Now it goes on to say Desiree was eventually sentenced to 9 months imprisonment for violating her federal probation. It says, choosing a life of crime over motherhood, Desiree dumped her infant daughter, Desiree, on Desiree's maternal grandfather, Julio, and his longtime partner, Olga. It says, growing up, Desiree referred to Julio as abuelo and Olga as mommy, which Desiree despises to this day. It says, in 2002, almost fresh out of prison, Desiree somehow became the owner of 4040 Club in New York, right? Now, it also says, as a footnote, it says that upon information and belief, Desiree avoided a lengthy prison sentence by cooperating with law enforcement. It goes on to say, and it shows these pictures. All these things have pictures inside of this lawsuit. It shows, you know, pictures and all of these other things as far as everything is claiming. It shows the photos in the lawsuit. Now, it goes on to say that Desiree has mostly remained in the greater New York city area since then and chose money, power, and influence at all costs. It says, to the outside world, it appears that Desiree turned her life around and became a successful CEO. It says, but secretly, Desiree continued to engage in acts of exposing herself and others to both civil and criminal liability, which a state prosecutor noted in her closed out memorandum relating to Javon's fraudulent arrest. That's her husband. That's her daughter's husband. Now, and it showed this part in the lawsuit that you can go see in the pictures. Now, it says, as related to this lawsuit, Desiree conspired with others to illegally record her daughter, her daughter and her daughter's husbands in their bedroom, hack their iPhone, and unlawfully detain uh, both of them on several occasions, which included concocting false evidence against them. Now, she says candidly, it is difficult to imagine that a mother would do the acts listed below to her own child, but the screenshot included in this complaint prove otherwise. Now, the footnote it says, in a closeout memo, Desiree is the victim's mother and Desiree is the alleged victim. Now it says that Desiree unlawfully wiretapped Desiree and her husband Javon's bedroom. Now it says that Desiree, at an unknown time, conspired with others to surreptitiously plant a camera into the Hattie's bathroom or bedroom without their knowledge, which existed since at least July the 18th, 2022. Now it says Desiree literally admitted this fact in a frivolous lawsuit she filed against Javon. Now it says in her complaint, Desiree even included a snapshot from the illegal recording device in Haley's bedroom. Now it shows a picture in this lawsuit. It says in addition to the illegal camera, Desiree also planted a listening device, which is pictured below, and they show a picture of a listening device in their bedroom. It says, unknowns to the Haleys, Desiree kept both recording devices in their bedroom for years, which is clearly illegal, right? 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 So let's keep going. Now it goes on to say, the prosecutor in Javon's frivolous criminal battery case, which Desiree facilitated, even recognized the illegal act of recording the Haleys in their bedroom. Now, it gives a footnote to that, and I'm not even gonna read that right there. Y'all can look in the lawsuit and read that, right? Now it says Desiree illegally hacked her daughter's iCloud account. It says Desiree also hacked or directed her highly trained technical staff at Rock Nation to hack Demore's iCloud account, giving Desiree unfettered access to Demaree's digital data, including text messages, photographs, and videos. It says that her daughter, Desiree, has witnessed her mother direct her tech team at Rock Nation to infiltrate other people's digital data, including an instance where Desiree Perez wanted to determine how a chart-topping artist's upcoming movie got leaked. Now it says that Desiree, the daughter of Desiree, first realized that her mother hacked her iPhone on March the 1st, 2024. Now it goes on to say on that day, Javon and Demaree's friend, Sergine, called Desiree after noticing that Demaree's cell phone and Apple Watch were pinging in New York. Now, at the bottom of this page, it says, in the prosecutor's memo, Javon is the alleged defendant, Desiree is the alleged victim, and Desiree is the one who conspired with others to illegally record the Hadleys. Notably, although a camera has been in the Hadleys' bedroom since July the 18th, 2022, Desiree failed to produce a single video showing Javon physically assaulting Desiree on September the 11th, 2023. Now, Desiree voluntarily gave Javon and Sergine access to her location. A screenshot below from Javon's phone showing Desiree was supposedly in New York, right? Now, it says Demaree's Apple Watch also showed it was located at, and I'm not going to read the address, blank in New York, right? Now, it says when Desiree checked her iCloud account on her phone, which she had in her hand in Miami, it says it showed that iPhone 2 on her account was pinging to Rock Nation's headquarters in New York. It also goes on to say the problem is that Desiree only had one iPhone device attached to her iCloud account, the one she was literally holding in her hand. Not surprisingly, Desiree's office at Rock Nation, located at blank, blank, blank street, New York, New York, It says, and it shows it in a screenshot. It says Google Maps shows that the blank address street, the location appearing on Demaray's iCloud account, and blank 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 street, which is Rock Nation's headquarters, are literally part of the same building in New York. Now it goes on. It says Demaray believes that the iPhone 2 device in her iCloud account, which placed her location at Rock Nation in New York, was a device cloned by her mother's team. Again, Demaray has personally witnessed her mother order her team to quote unquote clone a person's iPhone for her access. It says in Desiree's frivolous lawsuit filed against her husband, Demaray's husband, Javon, she somewhat admitted to hacking Demaray's phone. Desiree filed screenshots of text messages between Demaray and Javon, but failed to adequately explain how she acquired them. It said the prosecutor in Javon's case even noted the oddity of Desiree's ability to provide private conversations between Demaray and Javon that dated back to 2017. It says, as explained below, Desiree used illegal bedroom recordings, stolen iCloud data, and other means during her conspiracy to fraudulently convince people that Demaray needed to be unlawfully committed to a mental health institution and a drug rehab facility under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act statutes. She used the same information to get Javon falsely arrested. Now it says Desiree Perez threatened to Baker Act her own daughter, allegedly. Now it says Desiree's first time threatening to commit wrongfully, Demaray to a mental health institution occurred September the 14th, 2023. It said that day, Desiree lured Demaray to her home in Pinecrest, Florida, under the false pretenses that Demaray's uncle needed to be taken to the hospital, which was untrue. Demaray rushed to her mother's home and was confronted by her mother for an intervention. As seen below in the snippet from the police report, Desiree Perez admitted to having an intervention for Demaray and that she hired a quote-unquote counselor named Victoria Hunter. Although Desiree told officers that Victoria Hunter was a therapist, Mrs. Hunter has never been licensed as a therapist in Florida. Desiree convinced Mrs. Hunter to lie to the police and falsely claim that she was a therapist. Demaray was not interested in her mother's intervention and demanded to leave. However, Desiree prevented her daughter, Demaray, from leaving by confiscating her dog. Desperate to leave, Demaray attempted to climb over her mother's security fence. Desiree pulled Demaray back and stated, "I'm going to Baker Act you if you stay with that nigger. I will have you committed." Now it says, at the bottom, it says, when the police authored the incident report, the Hadleys were dating and had not yet married. The report refers to Demaray, her daughter, as Mrs. Lopez. So she said her mom said, if you stay with that N-word with the hard ER, I will have you committed. She said that's what Desiree Perez told her. Now, it says Desiree's statement was not some veiled threat and later came to fruition as explained below. It says Demaray, her daughter, called 911 and requested police assistance. It says Desiree flaunted her power as the CEO of Rock Nation and claimed that she had the Pinecrest police in her pocket. Now, it also says the Pinecrest police officers arrived on the scene and eventually forced Desiree to allow her daughter to leave. But due to her influence, the officers did not press charges against Desiree for false imprisonment. It said the same day, Desiree showed up to Demaray's grandfather's home where the Hadleys were residing. Desiree confronted Javon and told him, "I know everything that happens with you and Demaray. If you stay with her, you're going to get yourself killed." Based upon Desiree Perez's threats, the Hadleys moved out of Demaray's grandfather's home on October the 1st, 2023, and into a home located in Homestead, Florida. It says in response, Desiree Perez rented a house directly across the street from their new home in Homestead, pointed a camera towards their home, and ordered private security investigators, many who were unlicensed, to stalk and harass them. Now it says that the investigators who stayed away from the Hadleys worked for CTS Research Inc. in New York City. It says that CTS investigators followed the Hadleys 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, footnote says, as shown below, Desiree frequently used her financial resources, power, and influence to cause police officers to do as she asked. It says many times the CTS investigators followed the Hadleys at unsafe distances in their cars, causing the Hadleys to fear for their safety while driving. On one occasion, a CTS investigator who was unlicensed had a gun laying on the front seat while following Javon. It says below is the camera used by Desiree's investigators. She shows a picture. It says Desiree conspired with Demaree's employer, Iconic Creative LLC. It says after her first plot failed, Desiree Perez upped the stakes to have her daughter committed. It says since January 2021, Desiree worked for a creative agency in Miami called Iconic Creative LLC. Of course, Iconic often worked events for Rock Nation and its artists. For 2.5 years, Demaree's salary at Iconic was approximately $65,000, and the company was in financial distress, a fact the owners shared with Demaree. Now, it says, but in October 2023, right after Desiree threatened to Baker Act her daughter if she did not leave her husband, Javon, Demaree received a salary increase from $65,000 to $125,000. Upon information and belief, Desiree Perez stepped in and helped resolve Iconic's financial problems with strings attached, i.e., controlling her daughter, Demaree. Demaree found it odd because she knew about the company's financial situation. She was also ecstatic about her pay increase, of course, but little did she know what was to come. Suddenly, Iconic began asking Demaree to stay late, work longer hours, and to travel frequently. It says while some of the demands made sense at the time because of the pay increase, Demaree did not realize of the nefarious plot that was on the way. Split up her and her husband. It says on December the 12th, 2023, Elizabeth Liz Fregala and Benigo Benny Fregala, the owners of Iconic, text Demaree stating that she was required to attend a meeting with the Nike Academy the following day. Demaree found it odd that Liz and Benny told her to attend a Nike Academy meeting because Nike Academy was revamping its workshops. It says when Demaree signed onto the Zoom, only one person, Rachel Thomas, was at the training. Demaree found this to be odd because every other training meeting with Nike Academy consisted of at least 20 people. It says Rachel Thomas signed in the Zoom and identified herself as a representative from Nike Academy. Rachel then began asking Demaree questions that were unrelated to work. Demaree's suspicion of Rachel's intent, suspicious of Rachel's intent, asked Rachel if she could record the conversation, and Rachel consented. It says Demaree recorded the conversation and took a screenshot of Rachel. So she actually took a screenshot of this woman. Now it says Rachel proceeded to give Demaree a Kasi psychological evaluation without Demaree's approval or consent. It says upon information and belief, Desiree conspired with Liz and Benny, the owners of Iconic, to have Demaree undergo a mental health evaluation with Rachel. After the quote unquote training, Demaree asked for Rachel's Nike Academy profile. Rachel agreed to provide it, but did not do so immediately, probably because it had not been created. It says a few days later, Desiree received a fake link showing Rachel's false affiliation with the Nike Academy. Upon information and belief, Desiree and or Liz and Benny asked someone to create the fraudulent website. The website was later deleted after Liz and Benny realized that Desiree was becoming suspicious. Liz and Benny also required Desiree to attend two other training sessions with Rachel Thomas. The last one occurred right before Christmas. At the time, Desiree did not know Rachel's true identity. Right? Is what this is saying. All right, guys. So let's keep going. It says, uh, but in reality, Rachel Thomas was really a woman named Rachel Bernstein. Rachel Bernstein is a licensed marriage and family therapist from California who specializes in sexual cults and has a podcast on sexual cult recovery. And she shows pictures of that as well. It says, upon information and belief, this was just a ploy by her mother, Desiree Perez, to have her daughter, Desiree, improperly evaluated. Suffice to say it, Rachel Bernstein was never associated with Nike Academy when Desiree attended the quote-unquote training session. Desiree Perez immediately conspired to have her husband, her daughter's husband, Javon, arrested. It says on December 26, 2023, less than a week after the forced sessions with Rachel failed, Desiree reported to Miami-Dade police that Javon battered Desiree on January 16, 2022, almost 2 years prior. It says on December 29th, 2023, officers respond to the Hadley's home to speak with Javon. Desiree answered the door and told officers that nothing had happened on January 16, 2022, and directed the police to leave if they did not have a warrant. The next day, December 30th, 2023, Desiree ordered private investigators to follow the Hadleys into Pinto Farms in Homestead, Florida. While the Hadleys were enjoying Pinto Farms with their neighbors or nephews, Desiree falsely reported to 911 that Javon had kidnapped her daughter Desiree and was holding her hostage. Now it also says, as shown in the screenshot below, Desiree's allegations were completely false. Desiree was hardly being abducted and was spending quality time with her soon-to-be husband and nephews. Right? It says the state's attorney office documented Desiree's criminal activity of falsely reporting a crime in their closeout memorandum. Right? Now it says that when the police officers arrived on the scene, they quickly realized that Desiree Perez lied to the police as recognized by the state attorney's office. It says, however, Desiree had already conspired with high-ranking members of the police department and others to falsely arrest Javon for the January 2022 alleged battery. Although the prosecutor ultimately dropped the charges against Javon, he was embarrassed that the police arrested him in front of his nephews. Desiree avoided any charges for falsely reporting kidnapping. It says back to Iconic's plot with Desiree. It says approximately 1 week after Javon was released on bond from his fraudulent arrest on December the 30th, 2023, Iconic fired Desiree without any explanation. Desiree's firing was bizarre because she had just received glowing reviews from Liz. It says upon information and belief, Desiree demanded that Liz and Benny fire her daughter Desiree. It says again, Iconic has a large contract with Rock Nation and its artists, and upon information and belief, Desiree stepped in to help them financially. In addition to firing Desiree, Iconic refused to pay her for the week she had already worked in December of 2023. It says Desiree was told that to receive your payment for the week she had worked, she had to sign what was essentially a gag order entitled Separation of Release, which precluded her from reporting Iconic's behavior to Nike. It says this was obviously illegal. It says Desiree had to threaten legal action to get paid for the time she had already worked. It says at the bottom footnote, the children of iconic owners and athletes also wanted to be represented by Rock Nation Sports. Now it goes on to say, Desiree hired an attorney for Desiree. That says the same week, Desiree Perez hired attorney Ben Schwartz to improperly influence Javon's misdemeanor battery case. This is on January the 8th, 2024. Brett Schwartz filed a notice of appearance reporting to represent Desiree when Desiree actually hired him for her own interests. That says, to be clear, Desiree never hired Brett Schwartz, nor has she ever talked with him. Nevertheless, Brett Schwartz filed a fraudulent notice of appearance, which caused the prosecutor in Javon's case to reach out to him. It says, unfortunately, this was not the only occasion that Desiree hired lawyers who pretended as if they were representing Desiree, as explained below. It says, at Desiree's direction, Brett Schwartz tried to convince prosecutors to charge Javon with human trafficking, although there was no legal basis to do so. It says that the excerpt below was taken from an email that Brett Schwartz sent to the prosecutor in Javon's misdemeanor battery case. And I'm not going to read that email, but it's in a lawsuit. It says there was absolutely no basis for anyone to pursue felony charges against Javon for human trafficking. It says Desiree was simply using her money, power, and influence to prevent the Hadleys from being together. Desiree even contacted the prosecutor directly using her Rock Nation business email after the prosecutor told her and Brett that she could not charge Javon. Desiree asked the prosecutor to improperly extend the case. Unfortunately, the prosecutors agreed to Desiree's demand for more time, which ultimately allowed her to continue to wreak havoc for those holidays, and Desiree did just that. It said Desiree's third attempt at a mental health evaluation, and it goes on with that, man. This whole thing is crazy, man. Bro, so this girl's daughter, and this goes on and on and on. Bro, let me tell y'all something. This thing got 60-something pages to it. Where her daughter is stir-frying her mom. And she put documents and all this stuff inside of this lawsuit, right? She put documents and everything, bro. Crazy, crazy work going on out here, man. And so, as y'all can see, I'm not going to go through and read all of it. You know what I'm saying? But, bro, this is crazy, bro. She's accusing Desiree Perez of some real, illegal activity, man, against your own daughter, bro. Your own daughter is making these allegations. Like, wow, bro. Wow. You know what I mean? So, let me see. She talks about Rock Nation as well. Damn. Yeah, she's talking about them as well. Yep. So yeah, man, this is just crazy work, man. But y'all let me know what y'all feel about this, man. This whole situation with Desiree Perez. Like, share, subscribe, man.
All right, you guys. So we appreciate everybody that popped in, supported this video. Make sure that you guys shop our merch. We got that new A Weapons merchandise right there below this video. All you got to do is look below. The links will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well to get the merch, to donate, support the channel, and subscribe to our podcast show. You'll see all those links pinned at the top of the comment section of this video. And we appreciate everybody that supports this channel and our networks. Also, that straight drop weight loss formula. Go to the website. You guys will see that. A link for that will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well. Go right there for all of your weight loss needs. Straight drop weight loss formula. We have a lot of testimonials on the website. You can go to www.str-8-drop.com and get you some of the weight loss formula today. Take your weight loss serious. Get in the gym, work out, exercise, and do what you got to do. Stay on point. We appreciate everybody that's been locked into this video. Again, all the links are pinned at the top of the comment section below. Salute to all of y'all. And again, we appreciate everybody who support what we doing over here.